Hey guys, it's Mr. Lambert coming at you with the first inquiry lab we've done this year. So today we're going to be actually working from our textbook. So if you would like to, you can actually go back in through Clever to that McGraw-Hill app that we clicked on yesterday. When you click on that, you'll click on the one book that it looks like is there for you, so for our course. And then when you get into it, you'll click on the little green ebook button that is up on it's up kind of towards the top right hand side. Once you click on that, you should see a page that has this icon at the top. If you click on that guy, you will get a list of all the chapters and lessons in the book. This is chapter 5, Inquiry Lab. So if you click on chapter 5 and then look down, it's about the 4th or 5th button. There's one that says Inquiry Lab. So today we're going to be dealing with integers, if you hadn't noticed. And if we read here, this question says, how can positive and negative values be represented? So again, we're going to be dealing with positive and negative integers and how we can use those to represent things in the real world. Now, this is going to be your grade for today, this Ed puzzle. So make sure that you are paying attention as we go through. Make sure you're answering all of the questions to the best of your ability, because this will make or break your points for today. All right, so here we go. Again, we're dealing with positive and negative numbers and how we can use those in real life. So our question here says, in coastal regions, some animals live above sea level and other animals live in the ocean. A sea star can be found at an ocean depth of 2 feet. How could you represent an ocean depth of 2 feet? All right. So first thing to think through, as you're thinking about how can you represent an ocean depth of 2 feet, what do you know? What do you know about, what do you know about how people represent the depth of oceans? What do you know about numbers that might help you out with telling how you might represent with numbers an ocean depth of 2 feet? Go ahead and type your answer in, nice long sentences in the little box to the right. All right, now that you have that done, now what else do you need to find? What else don't you know about how to represent the value of an ocean depth of 2 feet? What else could you look up? What else could you research to help you out? So go ahead and type that in on the side. All right. So here we go. This says sea level can be represented with the number 0. Okay, so to represent a location above sea level, then I would use a positive number. That kind of makes sense. A positive number can be written with or without a positive sign, such as 5 or plus 5. So if I were to do that, I've got my thing here. I could write this as sea level. I'm not going to write that whole thing out, but this would be sea level. This would be above. Over here it says above sea level. So this would be our positive values. We can also put a plus in front of all of these numbers. It says to represent a location below sea level, use a negative number. Negative numbers written with a negative sign, such as -5. So this would be below sea level. So again, it is very important to remember, as we're thinking through these things, below sea level is to the left of our 0. Above sea level would be to the right of our 0. That means that 0 would be sea level, or the level of the surface of the ocean. Anything above that would be this in number of feet, and this would be this for below sea level in the number of feet. So our question here, how could we represent an ocean depth of 2 feet? Here we go. Okay, so your next question. Determine if a positive or a negative sign should be used. Since the location is below or less than sea level, you would use a blank sign. Again, what signs do we talk about above? Which one of those would you use? Go ahead and choose your answer from the choices on the right. All right, hope you got that correct. That would be a negative sign or a minus. Either way, either one of those would work, but it's going to be this guy, not the plus. For our next question here, it says determine which number to use. Use the number blank to represent 2 feet. So what number would I use to represent 2 feet? Go ahead and type your answer or choose it from the choices on the right. Again, if I'm going to write this number, hope you guys figured this one out. It's going to be the number 2 would represent 2 feet. So last but not least, the number blank is going to represent an ocean depth of 2 feet. Go ahead and type your answer in to the right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the answer here should be -2. Again, a negative sign is going to show something less than sea level or below the surface of the ocean. 2 feet is the number that we're looking for. So 2 feet down under the water would be represented with the number -2. That's an ocean depth of 2 feet. All right. We're going to move on to the next page here. You guys are doing great today. All right. So this next section says investigate and work with a partner. If you have someone to work with at home, feel free to do so on this next part. So it says work with a partner and write the correct number to represent each location in relationship to the sea level. The first one's done for you. Then draw a number line to represent each number. All right, we'll talk about what the number line would look like in just a few minutes, but the first thing we need to do is fill in our chart. So the first one's done for you. It says the fiddler crab is at an elevation of 3 feet above sea level. So he is going to be represented, his spot above sea level is going to be represented by the number +3. An eagle's nest is your next question. So it says an eagle's nest is at an elevation of 75 feet above sea level. What number would represent 75 feet above sea level? Go ahead and answer to the right. All right. Number 2, a dolphin is 10 feet below sea level. What number would represent 10 feet below sea level? Type your answer in on the right. A spider crab, 375 feet below sea level. This guy lives way down there. Go ahead and write the number to represent that elevation right here. All right, and last but not least, the blue heron, 4 feet above sea level. Type in your box. What would the number be that would represent 4 feet above sea level? All right, guys and gals, now that we've done those for you, let's go ahead and look at the answers. So the number, of course, for the eagle's nest, well, because it's above sea level, you could put a plus there or just write the number 75. I'd go ahead and leave the pluses off of mine just for the sake of they don't need to be there because it is understood that a regular value is the positive value. But if you put a plus there, it would be correct. A dolphin, 10 feet below sea level. So our elevation is 10 feet, but that is below sea level, so it would be -10. Again, a spider crab is 375 feet below sea level, so I'd have my 375. But again, that is below sea level, so I would use a negative sign. And last but not least, the blue heron, well, he's above sea level by 4 feet. So we do +4 or 4. Either of those would work. So here would be the values for each of these. If I were to draw these on a number line, well, of course, I'd have my number line. And somewhere towards the middle, usually on a number line, would be our number 0. Now, this number line would be a little messed up because -375, it's going to be way over here. I am not going to put all the hash marks in because that would take us 6 days. 75 would be, I don't know, maybe somewhere around here. And then 3 and 4 would be like right there by 0. 3, 4. And then our numbers and our 75 below, still going to be, our 10 below, it's going to be way over here too. It's going to be our -10. So there's roughly what our number line would look like. Again, our largest value from 0, our furthest number away would be -375, or 375 feet below sea level. That's going to be our furthest from 0. But our greatest value, because this is a negative, we think of it as less. Our greatest value would actually be 75 feet above sea level. Let's go on to the next question because I think it will help us out with that concept just a little bit. So it says analyze and reflect. What negative number is the same distance from 0 as the number +4 or +4? Explain. Graph both numbers on this number line below. So what I want you to do is I want you to type your answer in the box here on Edpuzzle, and then we will graph the numbers and talk about how that will play out. Use your fingers on the screen if you need to, but I need you to tell me not only what negative number is the same distance from 0 as positive 4, but I need you to explain to me how you know. Go ahead and give that a try. Remember, this is for your grade for today. All right, so the number that is magically the same distance from 4. So let's figure that out first. Here is 0. We want to know the distance from 0, right? So we want to make sure it's the same for both. So we're going to start, and we're going to count the distance to 4. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. We've moved 4 spaces there. So there we go. So I need to figure out what is 4 spaces the opposite direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be the number negative 4. Now, negative 4 and 4 are the two numbers. So there would have been your answer. Negative 4 is the number that is the same distance from 0 as positive 4. We call these numbers opposites because they are the same distance from 0 looking at either side of the number line. So, of course, positive 4 goes to the right, negative 4 goes to the left. Because they are the same distance, we call them opposites. That is actually the mathematical term. We could also say we call them opposites because they both have the absolute value of 0. And an absolute value, we talked about this on Monday, but absolute value is just the distance a number is from 0 on the number line. It doesn't matter if it's positive or negative, it's just the spaces away that it is. So we're not talking about larger or smaller numbers. Absolute value is just the distance from 0. So again, negative 4 and 4 would both have an absolute value of 4. That means that they are opposites. All right. Moving on, because we are almost to our last question of the day. Here's your last question. So it says, write about a real-world situation that can be described using the number negative 6. Describe what the number 0 would represent in that situation and what would the number 6 represent. So again, here is a multi-part question, so make sure you're answering all of it. This will take at least 3 sentences to do. Your first sentence should tell me about a real-world situation that could use the number negative 6. My only caveat on this is you can't use sea level. So think about other things on the planet, other things that you have experienced where you could use the number negative 6 to describe some real value. Describe what the number 0 then would represent in that same situation. There's your second sentence minimum. And your third sentence at least would be, what does the number 6 represent in that same situation? All right. Once you have that done and you have typed that in on the side here on your Edpuzzle, to finish out the day, we would like you to go to Extra Math. Go one run through Extra Math. You can find that linked through Clever, and the button there should be directions on the bottom of the page on how to get there. And then when you have done that, please hop over to Prodigy and spend the rest of your hour of math time today hanging out in the Prodigy world, dealing with some positive and negative numbers there using your class codes. All right, guys and gals, I hope that works for you. Hope you have a great day. Good luck on this last question, and we will see you later.